Monk mode begins when you decide that your attention is no longer available to everything that demands it. The modern world is designed to interrupt you. Notifications, endless entertainment, meaningless arguments, constant scrolling, other people's opinions, and the pressure to remain available can slowly divide your mind until you are physically present but mentally somewhere else. Cut off what steals your attention because your attention is one of the most valuable resources you possess, and whatever controls your attention eventually influences the direction of your life. In a world filled with notifications, entertainment, endless scrolling, gossip, arguments, and constant demands for immediate responses, concentration has become rare. The problem is that most distractions do not appear dangerous, they appear small. You check your phone for a minute, watch one short video, answer one unnecessary message, open one social media application, or spend a few minutes reading comments. But these small interruptions accumulate. They fragment your thinking and make deep concentration increasingly difficult. You may spend an entire day doing many things while accomplishing almost nothing important. Monk mode begins when you recognize that not everything deserves access to your mind. Your phone does not deserve your attention every time it makes a sound. Other people's opinions do not deserve your emotional reaction every time they appear. Every argument does not require your participation. Every invitation does not require your acceptance. Every piece of information does not deserve to be consumed. The ability to say no to unnecessary stimulation is a form of discipline. When you constantly allow external demands to interrupt you, you train your brain to expect novelty. You become uncomfortable with silence. You become uncomfortable with boredom. You begin reaching for stimulation whenever a task becomes difficult. This makes meaningful work harder because meaningful work often requires sitting with one problem for a long period without immediate rewards. If you want to develop serious concentration, you must deliberately create periods where distractions are removed. Put your phone away when working. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Close irrelevant tabs. Create specific times for checking messages instead of checking them continuously. If social media repeatedly destroys your focus, reduce your access to it. You do not need to delete everything permanently, but you should control when and how you use it. The important principle is that technology should serve your goals rather than your impulses. Your environment also matters. If your workspace is filled with things that constantly demand attention, your mind will repeatedly shift toward them. Make important work easier to begin and distraction harder to access. Keep the materials you need nearby. Remove unnecessary noise. Establish a clear place and period for focused work. When the environment supports concentration, discipline requires less effort. Another important distraction is people. Some conversations leave you energized and informed, while others leave you mentally exhausted. You do not need to hate or reject people simply because they distract you, but you can become more selective about how much access they have to your time. Constant negativity, pointless arguments, gossip, and unnecessary drama can consume enormous amounts of mental energy. If a conversation does not improve your understanding, strengthen a meaningful relationship, solve a problem, or contribute to something important, ask yourself whether it deserves your attention. This does not mean becoming isolated. Human connection matters. It means becoming intentional. You should also protect yourself from internal distractions. Sometimes the biggest interruption is not your phone or another person, but your own thoughts. You may constantly replay an argument, imagine what others think about you, worry about the future, or compare yourself with someone else. When this happens, return your attention to the task in front of you. You cannot control every thought that enters your mind, but you can practice choosing which thoughts deserve continued attention. Focus is not the absence of distraction. It is the ability to return to what matters after distraction appears. Start small. Give one task your complete attention for 20 or 30 minutes, then gradually extend the period. Your ability to concentrate develops through repetition, just like any other skill. Every time you resist the urge to check your phone, switch tasks, or seek stimulation, you strengthen your capacity for focus. Eventually, silence becomes comfortable, boredom becomes tolerable, deep work becomes easier. You begin discovering that many things you once believed were urgent were simply interruptions wearing the appearance of importance. Your life changes when you stop giving everything equal access to your attention. You begin choosing what deserves your mental energy instead of allowing algorithms, impulses, and other people's demands to make that decision for you. Choose one mission and commit because scattered attention creates scattered results. Many people want to change their lives, but they approach transformation with too many goals, competing for the same limited amount of energy. They want to become healthier, earn more money, learn new skills, build a business, improve relationships, read more books, exercise every day, and completely redesign their personality at the same time. Each goal may be valuable, but when everything becomes a priority, nothing receives enough concentration to create meaningful progress. Monk mode requires you to identify the mission that deserves your strongest attention during a particular period of your life. This does not mean abandoning every other responsibility. It means deciding what deserves priority and organizing the rest around it. Concentration becomes powerful when you stop constantly changing direction. Imagine trying to travel towards 6 different destinations at the same time. You would move in circles, waste fuel, and eventually arrive nowhere. Your mind can operate in the same way. Every new goal creates a new demand for planning, learning, decision-making, and emotional energy. When you constantly switch between objectives, you pay a hidden cost every time you change focus. You must remember where you stopped, reconstruct your thoughts, and rebuild momentum. This is why choosing one mission can create extraordinary clarity. Ask yourself what improvement would have the greatest positive effect on the rest of your life. Maybe it is developing a valuable skill, completing an important project, improving your physical condition, building financial stability, or mastering a particular area of knowledge. Once you identify the priority, give it protected time every day. Do not wait for spare time because spare time is often consumed by distractions. Schedule the work deliberately. Make the important task part of your normal routine rather than something you complete only when motivation appears. Commitment also means accepting temporary sacrifice. If you choose to focus seriously on a goal, you will have to say no to certain opportunities, entertainments, conversations, and habits. This can feel uncomfortable because modern culture encourages constant participation. There is always another event, another video, another trend, another conversation, and another opportunity demanding attention. But every yes has an opportunity cost. When you say yes to something unimportant, you may be saying no to something that matters more. Commitment, therefore, requires boundaries. You must decide what you are willing to ignore for a period of time so that something important can receive your full effort. This does not mean becoming extreme or neglecting responsibilities. It means becoming intentional about where your energy goes. Another part of commitment is staying with the mission after the excitement disappears. Beginning is easy when motivation is high. The real test arrives when progress becomes slow, repetitive, or frustrating. You practice and do not immediately improve. You work and receive little recognition. You make mistakes, you become bored. This is where many people abandon their original goal and search for something new that feels exciting again. Constantly starting over creates the illusion of ambition while preventing mastery. Commitment means continuing through the ordinary middle where progress is difficult to see. You should also measure progress realistically. Do not demand dramatic transformation every day. Look for evidence of movement. Did you practice? Did you complete the planned task? Did you improve your understanding? Did you remove one obstacle? Small gains accumulate. A mission becomes powerful when repeated actions create momentum over weeks and months. You should remain flexible about methods while staying committed to the objective. If one strategy fails, change the strategy rather than immediately abandoning the goal. Learn from results, adjust your routine, improve your approach. Commitment does not mean stubbornly repeating a mistake. It means maintaining direction while allowing your methods to evolve. When you choose one mission and consistently protect it from distraction, your mind becomes less fragmented. You stop chasing every new opportunity and begin building depth. Your effort becomes concentrated, your skills improve faster, and your confidence grows because you can see evidence that your actions are producing results. The world will always offer you another distraction, another goal, and another reason to change direction. But mastery usually belongs to the person who can remain focused long enough for ordinary effort to become extraordinary ability. Build a ruthless daily routine because discipline becomes far more powerful when your important actions no longer depend on your mood. Many people believe they need motivation before they can begin meaningful work, but motivation is unreliable. Some mornings you will feel energetic and inspired, while on other days you will feel tired, distracted, or uncertain. If your progress depends entirely on how you feel, your results will constantly change. A routine creates structure that continues even when motivation disappears. This is the foundation of monk mode, deciding in advance what matters and creating a system that makes those actions difficult to avoid. A strong routine does not need to be complicated. In fact, excessive complexity often becomes another form of procrastination. You do not need 20 habits, an elaborate schedule, or a perfect morning ritual. You need a few important behaviors that you can repeat consistently. Decide when you will wake, when you will work deeply, when you will exercise, when you will learn, when you will rest, and when you will disconnect from unnecessary stimulation. The exact schedule will depend on your responsibilities, but the principle remains the same. Remove unnecessary decisions from your day. Every decision consumes some mental energy. If you repeatedly ask yourself whether you should work now or later, exercise today or tomorrow, study for 30 minutes, or scroll for an hour, you create opportunities for your weaker impulses to take control. A routine answers those questions before they appear. When a behavior becomes scheduled, you no longer need to negotiate with yourself every morning. You simply execute. This is why consistency is more important than intensity. One extraordinary day does not transform your life. Repeated ordinary days can. You may work intensely for 10 hours once and then accomplish almost nothing for the next week. A better approach is sustainable effort repeated over a long period. The routine should challenge you, but it should also be realistic enough that you can maintain it. Discipline is not about destroying yourself. It is about creating reliable behavior. A useful routine should also protect your highest quality attention. Identify the hours when your mind is strongest and reserve them for your most important work. Do not give your best mental energy to social media, random messages, or trivial tasks, and then expect yourself to perform your most difficult work when you are exhausted. Your priorities should receive your best resources, not merely whatever remains at the end of the day. Physical discipline can support mental discipline as well. Regular movement, adequate rest, and proper recovery help you maintain the energy required for focused work. Monk mode is not about working every waking hour. Rest is part of the system because a tired mind becomes more vulnerable to distraction and impulsive behavior. Another important part of routine is having a clear starting ritual. Perhaps you sit at your desk, remove your phone, open the material you need, and begin with the most important task. Repeating the same sequence teaches your brain that these actions signal the beginning of focused work. Over time, starting becomes easier because you have reduced the friction surrounding it. You should also create an evening review. Look at what you accomplished without turning the process into self-criticism. Ask what worked, what distracted you, and what needs to change tomorrow. A routine should be adjusted based on reality. If a particular schedule consistently fails, investigate why. Maybe the task is too large, the timing is poor, or your environment contains too many distractions. Change the system rather than simply blaming yourself. The purpose of discipline is not punishment. It is creating conditions in which the person you want to become has a better chance of appearing every day. Eventually, the routine begins to change your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who occasionally becomes productive and begin seeing yourself as someone who keeps promises to himself. That shift matters because self-trust is built through repeated action. Every time you complete an important task, despite not feeling motivated, you strengthen that trust. Every time you follow the routine instead of surrendering to distraction, you prove that your impulses do not have to control your choices. A ruthless routine is therefore not about being harsh for the sake of harshness. It is about becoming consistent enough that your goals receive daily attention, your distractions receive fewer opportunities, and your actions begin moving automatically in the direction you have deliberately chosen. Train yourself to resist instant pleasure because the ability to delay gratification is one of the foundations of deep focus, discipline, and long-term achievement. Modern life makes immediate pleasure extremely easy to access. A notification can provide stimulation in seconds. A short video can entertain you instantly. A game can distract you immediately. Food, shopping, social media, and endless content can give your brain quick rewards whenever boredom or discomfort appears. None of these things are automatically bad, but when you become dependent on immediate stimulation, difficult work begins to feel unbearable. The moment a task becomes boring, uncertain, or frustrating, you instinctively search for an escape. This creates a dangerous habit. Discomfort becomes a signal to stop. Monk mode requires reversing that pattern. You learn to remain with the task even when it is not exciting. You learn that boredom is not an emergency and discomfort is not always a reason to quit. This does not mean rejecting every enjoyable experience. It means choosing when pleasure serves you and when it controls you. The difference is intention. If you decide to relax after completing your important work, you are using entertainment deliberately. If you repeatedly abandon your work whenever entertainment becomes available, entertainment is controlling your behavior. Delayed gratification begins with small decisions. Finish the paragraph before checking your phone. Complete the workout before watching videos. Study for a set period before opening social media. Wait before making an unnecessary purchase. These small acts may seem insignificant, but they train the brain to understand that an impulse does not automatically require a response. You can experience the desire without obeying it. That distinction is powerful. You will often feel the urge to check something, eat something, scroll something, or escape something. Instead of immediately acting, pause. Notice the urge. Take a breath. Return to the task. The urge may remain for a moment and then weaken. Each time this happens, you learn something important. Feelings can change without being obeyed. Another major part of this discipline is learning to tolerate boredom. People often believe they need constant stimulation to remain productive, but deep work can be repetitive. Reading difficult material, practicing a skill, writing, studying, exercising, and building something can all contain long periods where nothing feels exciting. If you require constant novelty, you will struggle to stay with these activities long enough to become skilled. Boredom tolerance allows you to continue when the emotional reward disappears. This is where many people separate from the crowd. They can remain focused after the initial excitement is gone. They understand that mastery is often built during the hours when nobody feels inspired. You should also recognize the difference between discomfort and genuine danger. Some discomfort is simply the feeling of growth, uncertainty, effort, or delayed reward, but serious physical or psychological warning signs should not be ignored. Discipline is not about harming yourself. It is about learning which discomfort is useful and which requires attention. A balanced approach allows you to challenge yourself while respecting legitimate limits. Your environment can make resistance easier or harder. If your phone is constantly beside you, resisting it requires repeated effort. Put it farther away during focused work. If distracting websites are always open, close them. If unhealthy habits are constantly available, create distance from them. You do not need to prove your willpower every minute. Good systems reduce unnecessary temptation. Over time, resisting instant pleasure changes your relationship with yourself. You become more comfortable making choices based on long-term values rather than immediate feelings. You begin trusting yourself because you repeatedly demonstrate that you can keep a promise even when something more enjoyable is available. This creates a deeper form of confidence. You are no longer dependent on motivation or excitement. You can work when the task is boring. You can wait when the reward is delayed. You can tolerate temporary discomfort without immediately escaping. That ability gives you more control over your time and attention. The world will continue offering instant rewards, but you do not have to accept every one. You can choose the harder action when the harder action serves your future. You can enjoy pleasure without becoming dependent on it. You can experience boredom without fearing it. And you can remain focused long enough for small disciplined actions to accumulate into meaningful results. Work in silence and protect your energy because not everything you build needs to be announced, explained, or displayed to other people. In a world where people constantly share their plans, opinions, achievements, and daily activities, silence has become unusual. Many people announce what they are going to accomplish before they have actually done the work. They tell everyone about their new goals, new habits, new projects, and new ambitions, and the attention they receive can create a temporary feeling of achievement. But talking about progress is not the same as making progress. When you constantly seek recognition before producing results, you may satisfy the emotional reward that should have come from completing the actual work. Monk mode requires a different approach. You become comfortable working without an audience. You stop needing immediate applause. You allow your actions to develop privately until they are strong enough to speak for themselves. Working in silence does not mean hiding everything or refusing to communicate with people who genuinely support you. It means becoming selective about what you reveal, to whom you reveal it, and why you are revealing it. Some goals benefit from accountability, collaboration, or guidance, but unnecessary exposure can create distraction. When too many people know what you are doing, their opinions can enter your mind before your own judgment has fully developed. One person may tell you that your goal is unrealistic. Another may tell you that you should choose a different path. Someone else may become jealous. Another may constantly ask about your progress. Suddenly, instead of concentrating on the work, you are managing other people's reactions. Silence protects your attention from this noise. Your energy is also limited. Every conversation requires some emotional and mental investment. Constantly explaining yourself can drain you. You do not need to justify every decision, every period of solitude, or every change in your priorities. If you've decided to spend less time on entertainment so you can focus on an important project, you do not need to convince everyone that your decision is correct. If someone does not understand your discipline, let them misunderstand. Your responsibility is not to obtain universal approval. Protecting your energy also means becoming selective about the people you allow close to you. Some people encourage growth, challenge you intelligently, respect your boundaries, and leave you feeling clearer. Others constantly complain, create drama, criticize without purpose, or demand attention without offering anything constructive. You do not have to hate these people. You simply need to recognize their effect on your concentration. Distance can sometimes be healthier than constant conflict. Another important part of working in silence is avoiding unnecessary comparison. Social media makes it easy to watch other people's achievements while you are working on your own beginning. You see someone's success without seeing their years of preparation, failures, advantages, sacrifices, or private struggles. Then you compare your unfinished process with their finished presentation. This can destroy motivation. Monk mode requires turning your attention back toward your own path. Your progress should be measured against your previous performance rather than against carefully selected images of someone else's life. Protecting your energy also means learning to say no. Every invitation, conversation, opportunity, and request may sound important, but accepting everything leaves no space for deep work. Saying no does not automatically make you selfish. Sometimes it means you understand your priorities. If your mission requires focused time, you must protect that time. You cannot give your best energy to everyone and still expect to give your best energy to your own goals. Silence can also help you discover whether you genuinely want something. When you stop announcing your plans and stop seeking outside approval, you are forced to confront your own motivation. Do you actually want the goal, or do you want the recognition associated with it? Do you want the discipline, or do you simply want people to admire the image of being disciplined? Private work reveals the difference. Nobody is watching, so the only reason to continue is that the work matters to you. This builds internal motivation. Eventually, your relationship with achievement changes. You stop needing to announce every step because you become more interested in the process than the applause. You work, learn, practice, make mistakes, adjust, and continue. When results finally appear, they carry greater weight because they were built through consistency rather than constant performance. Working in silence is therefore not about becoming invisible. It is about becoming focused enough that outside noise cannot easily redirect you. Protect your time, protect your attention, protect your emotional energy, and let your results speak louder than your announcements. Become obsessed with progress, not distraction, because the quality of your life is shaped by what you repeatedly give your attention to. Many people spend enormous amounts of energy chasing stimulation, approval, entertainment, and the appearance of success while neglecting the quiet actions that actually create improvement. They measure their day by how much they consumed, how many messages they received, how many videos they watched, or how much attention they attracted. Monk mode requires a different measurement system. Instead of asking how entertained you were, ask what you built. Instead of asking whether everyone noticed you, ask whether you became better. Progress is often invisible in the beginning, which makes it easy to abandon. You may study for weeks before feeling noticeably smarter. You may train for months before seeing major physical changes. You may work on a project for a long time before anyone recognizes it. During this period, distraction becomes tempting because distraction provides immediate rewards, while progress provides delayed rewards. This is why you must learn to value the process itself. Every focus session is evidence that you are moving forward, even when the final result is not visible yet. Progress should also be measured realistically. If you demand dramatic improvement every day, you will become frustrated and may eventually quit. Instead, look for small indicators. Did you complete the task you planned? Did you learn something new? Did you practice a difficult skill? Did you avoid a distraction that normally controls you? Did you make a better decision than you made last week? These small improvements accumulate. A person who becomes slightly better every day can eventually become dramatically different from the person they were a year earlier. Another important principle is to stop confusing activity with progress. Being busy does not automatically mean you are moving forward. You can spend 10 hours answering messages, reorganizing files, watching educational videos, and researching endlessly while avoiding the one difficult task that actually matters. Progress requires distinguishing between productive action and comfortable activity. Ask yourself whether the task is creating a meaningful result or simply giving you the feeling of being occupied. Sometimes the most important work is also the least exciting. Writing the difficult paragraph, practicing the weak skill, making the uncomfortable call, studying the confusing material, or correcting a repeated mistake may produce little immediate pleasure. But these actions create capacity. Distraction usually asks you to consume, progress asks you to create. This distinction can change how you structure your day, give your most important work your best attention, complete meaningful tasks before giving yourself large amounts of entertainment. Use leisure intentionally rather than automatically. You do not need to eliminate pleasure from your life. Rest and enjoyment are necessary, but they should support your life rather than consume it. When you have completed important work, relaxation can feel different because you are choosing it rather than using it to escape responsibility. Progress also requires patience with failure. You will make mistakes. Some strategies will fail. Some days will be unproductive. The mistake is turning one bad day into an excuse to abandon the entire mission. Review what happened, identify the problem, adjust your approach, and return to the work. The ability to restart quickly is more important than maintaining a perfect record. You should also protect yourself from comparing your progress with other people. Someone else may appear far ahead, but you rarely know their full circumstances. Comparison can turn your attention toward jealousy rather than development. Focus on your own measurable improvements. Ask where you were 6 months ago and where you can be 6 months from now if you remain consistent. This keeps your attention connected to reality. Eventually, progress itself becomes rewarding. You begin enjoying the feeling of competence, discipline, and improvement more than the temporary stimulation of distraction. You start looking forward to finishing a difficult task because you know the satisfaction that follows. You become less dependent on constant entertainment because your work has meaning. This is the deeper purpose of monk mode. It is not simply about removing distractions for a few weeks. It is about changing what your mind considers valuable. When progress becomes more attractive than distraction, discipline becomes easier, your attention becomes an investment rather than something you give away freely. You begin building skills, strengthening habits, and creating results that remain long after temporary stimulation disappears.